Hey, it's Terry Gorry, and this is the Irish Law and Small Business Podcast. So today I want to discuss a case there that was reported during the week. It was a Circuit Court appeal by Pat McDonagh's hotel, or his group, Pat McDonagh of Supermax, that is. In 2018, a traveller family were awarded €22,000 at the WRC for discrimination against the hotel owned by Supermax Pat McDonagh. The name of the hotel, I think, is the Charleville Park Hotel. And what happened was the traveller family were made or declared to be officially homeless, and they went to the Department of Social Protection, or the relevant department with Cork County Council, and the DSW, I think he's called, that's the Department Social Worker or District Social Worker, tried to or give them a certificate that they were homeless and they were going to be housed in temporary accommodation in this Charleville Park Hotel, which is owned by Pat McDonagh of Supermax fame. When the DSW rang up the hotel, however, and must have communicated that it was a homeless family, and not sure whether it was a traveller family or not, I'm not sure whether that came out, but the hotel basically said that they didn't have any accommodation. But the lady in question herself, the traveller lady, I think Miss O'Reilly, she was married to a man, can't remember his name now off the top of my head, but she rang up and, using her husband's credit card or debit card, and this is very, very important, using her husband's debit card, she secured accommodation for the 2 or 3 nights that they were looking for. So this was a situation where the DSW had rang up on their behalf and was told there was no accommodation, and she rang Mrs. O'Reilly, or Miss O'Reilly I think, rang and used a debit card and made the booking. The problem arose, however, when they went along then the next day to check in at reception, and reception wouldn't allow them check in because they didn't have a credit card. And basically the receptionist said that the policy in the hotels owned by Pat McDonagh was that you must have a credit card to confirm your booking. And the reason for this was so that the hotel would have some protection in respect of any damage, etc., that might be done to the hotel, in the ordinary course of events, perhaps at a wedding, or perhaps some sort of a stay, maybe a stag night or a hen night or whatever, and people get over exuberant and perhaps stuff gets damaged or whatever. That's the hotel's position anyway, but the bottom line is, the policy is you must have a credit card. So Miss O'Reilly and her husband did not have a credit card and therefore were not allowed to stay in the hotel. They brought a case then to the WRC, the Workplace Relations Commission, for discrimination, and I think there was 2 grounds of discrimination. One was that they were members of the travelling community and were discriminated against on that ground, and secondly, they were discriminated against on the grounds that they were either homeless or in receipt of a housing assistance payment. But either way, they had 2 grounds of discrimination, and they were awarded €22,000 by the WRC, the Workplace Relations Commission. The Workplace Relations Commission, remember, deals with discrimination in the provision of goods or services, in addition to employment claims. Pat McDonagh, the owner of the Charleville Park Hotel, appealed this decision to the Circuit Court, and last week in the Circuit Court the judge went through the evidence, and the traveller family, the head of the household, I think his name was Mr. O'Neill, he gave evidence that he had previously been a member of the leisure centre in the hotel, and he had previously drunk in the hotel. So the judge saw this as evidence that there was no discrimination against travellers per se. Pat McDonough then gave evidence that their policy was to insist on credit cards, etc., across the board in all the hotels in their group, because they wanted to be able to defray costs arising from guests damaging or causing loss to the hotel. And the lady in question, Miss O'Reilly, who made the booking by direct or by the debit card, she admitted in evidence that she hadn't seen or noted on the terms and conditions form that was provided that it said that payment would be by credit card when you're booking in at reception or whatever. So on that basis, the judge said that they were perfectly decent, respectable people, but that they were not discriminated against, that the hotel did have this policy of requiring a credit card. It was in the terms and conditions of the booking form, therefore it was incorporated into the contract, and the hotel insisting on getting a credit card for the booking wasn't discriminatory, and the judge in the Circuit Court last week in Cork overturned the WRC decision to award them €22,000. So that's the case of the provision of hotel accommodation in the Charleville Park Hotel. Circuit Court overturned the WRC decision that there was discrimination and overturned the award of $22,000, and wished the couple well in the future and made no order as to costs. Hope you find this useful. If you do, I'd appreciate if you gave it the thumbs up down below, and if you're interested, you may be interested in subscribing to my YouTube channel, just hit the subscribe button down below. Thanks a lot.